for fate.
This is the way. Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tells me when you're from Memphis.
Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, brought to you by the Drive-In Podcast Network, where we discuss film, TV, and all things Hollywood. Here on the show, I'm your host, Christian, and I'm joined by my trusty co-host, Devin, and we are here today to give our thoughts about the latest movie to hit theaters this past weekend, and that is Eternals. Not The Eternals. They dropped the because it's cleaner. Very clean. Very, very clean stuff. And before we begin today's show, you can listen to our podcast on platforms around the internet. If you're a new or seasoned listener to the show, we'd love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. Devin, how are you doing on this fine Saturday morning? How are you doing?
I'm doing swell. Had a nice late movie last night.
How late did you guys?
10:35 start time.
A 10:35 start time? Devin, that's
yes.
It might as well. Oh my gosh, that's insane. And the movie's like
for a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, I mean, you were technically there for 3 hours, depending if you sat through all those 30-minute previews. I tweeted about that the other day, by the way. I was like,
and through the end credits.
Yeah, so you were there for a good 3 hours at least. Did you guys watch the 30-minute previews? Got there super. I know Matt's a very punctual person. So.
Yeah, we got there on time.
Oh, okay. Devin had to sit through the previews. Yeah, I tweeted about that the other day, and one of my friends replied back. He's like, "Oh, this is a hot take, but I love the previews." I'm like, I can't say that's a hot take. I think it's just more of a standard opinion.
I mean, I used to like the previews as well, but nowadays it's just so repetitive. I just want them to be over with.
Yeah, it would be different if they showed. I mean, it's different for us, especially because we see
we go so often.
Yeah, like we go so often, and not only that, like we see a lot of these trailers on YouTube. We see a lot of the trailers on Twitter. We're on Twitter constantly. Me, probably way too much than I should be on Twitter. But yeah, we go so often. It's like, okay, let's get to it. I'm not going to lie, Devin. When I went to go see The Harder They Fall in theaters, it was amazing. Start time, 1:00. Boom. Did not miss a beat. Like the lights went off and the movie started. I'm like, this is amazing. It was fantastic. Cut out all the fat, trim out all the fat, and let's get to, the goods. Because, whew, man, for that, and when I went to go see, I saw Eternals a few weeks early. So I was able to it was just great. Like the start time, boom, it was there. So, and we got the end credit scenes, despite everything that happened at Variety, because I was very afraid that we weren't going to get the end. I thought that Marvel was going to pull the end credits out of all like early screenings for like critics and things of that nature, and they didn't. And I was like, okay, so looks like Variety didn't screw up yet, but we'll see. But Devin, are you ready to get into our Eternals review?
Yes, Fastos.
So we will be back with our Eternals review right after this short break.
We're Eternals. We came here 7,000 years ago to protect humans from the deviants.
Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos? Or any war, or all the other terrible things throughout history?
We were instructed not to interfere in any human conflicts unless deviants are involved.
By who?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our Eternals review, and the story is as follows. The saga of the Eternals, a race of immortal beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilizations. This is directed by Academy Award winner Chloé Zhao, and writers include Chloé Zhao as well as Patrick Burleigh and Ryan Firpo. I believe I'm saying his last name correctly, but it also stars Gemma, Richard Madden, Angelina Jolie, Oh my gosh. Lord Snow, Jon Snow himself is in this movie as well. So we get some nice little some nice little Jon Snow action in there with Kit Harington. So very excited to see him still back in the industry, still back in the business. I know he was going through a few of his own personal problems, issues after Game of Thrones, but we got 2 Game of Thrones actors in here. I'm very, very excited. So I think I deserve myself a nice little pat on the back there, because I kind of went through that list there pretty nice. So I'm just gonna give myself a nice little cheer there.
There we go.
There we go. There we go. So for everyone out there listening, if you are new to the show, this is usually how we work. We usually do our non-spoilers first, and then we'll get into spoilers after you hear this nice little bad boy. So we're just going to get into our initial reactions of the film. It's been a long time coming for this one. I'm not going to lie. It's a weird year because we've gotten 2 Marvel movies already, but it doesn't feel that way at the same time. It's very, well, I mean, Black Widow has been around for a while. That one was kind of pushing through a few dates, and everything's been pushed back. But Eternals stuck to its guns. We were afraid that Shang-Chi came out of the gate and did very well at the box office, and it looks like with Eternals, they stuck to their guns as well. A very divisive film. Honestly, I haven't seen one this divisive probably since The Last Jedi, just off of what Rotten Tomatoes is saying, which is currently, I believe last time it was at like a 53 last time I checked, oh my God. So the tomato meter for critics right now is sitting at a 49%, and for audiences is sitting at an 84%, which is crazy to think about.
These are DC numbers. What are we doing here?
I know, man. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, everyone's praising Chloé Zhao for this Nomadland movie. Like I saw it. I do appreciate like the cinematography and the direction, but I did not care too much about the story myself. I thought Frances McDormand did a good job, but personally, I don't think it deserved to win Best Picture. I know. There's a lot of people booing out there right now.
See, I disagree with you, because like going into that movie, if you would have read the synopsis of Nomadland, I would have been like, that's the most boring thing I've ever heard of. But then when I watch it, it's like, wow.
Oh, you did watch it? Okay. I didn't know if you did.
Yeah, she actually made this interesting, and like,
oh yeah,
I really liked it.
It is an interesting story. It just wasn't my favorite of the year. Like, I didn't think it was like terrible. It just wasn't really my cup of tea, especially with other movies that kind of stuck out to me just a little bit more. But no disrespect to Chloé Zhao, for sure, 100%. But I will say I was hyped up about this movie by a certain someone, but I will not name that person. So I'm going to turn it over here to Devin so he can give his initial reactions to Eternals.
All right. Right off the bat, I'm just going to say it. Dune. Take some world building notes.
Wow.
from
Whoa,
this movie.
whoa. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'll let you finish.
Shots fired there immediately.
No.
Because, I mean, I care about and know all of these characters now. Cannot say the same about Dune. I do not care about those characters. And I don't know most of them after watching the entire movie.
So you're telling me you know every 10, what's 10 of them? 10 Eternals.
Yes.
You do?
Easily.
Name them off right now. I'm just kidding.
Makari, Cersei, Phastos, Ajax.
He's looking at his screen, ladies and gentlemen. So he's got that.
I'm looking at the faces, not their names. It's different. Gilgamesh.
Oh, well, Gilgamesh is great. I will say, I see a lot of people out there that are trying to compare Eternals to Dune. I personally can't compare them because to me, it's comparing a single contained story to what now is supposed to be a trilogy, or supposed trilogy. I hope it becomes a trilogy instead of a double feature.
I don't think the Eternals is contained.
Well, I mean, they're definitely going to be coming back, but I mean, I think
there's going to be an Eternals too at some point, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I liked both personally, but I don't know, because I mean, obviously, like a lot of superhero movies have like a lot of sci-fi elements, but this was definitely more cosmic, more mystical. I guess you could say fantasy, in a way. I mean, there's a lot of fantasy elements in Dune. I personally love them both. It's like a 1A, 1B type thing for me because I really did enjoy Eternals. I think I would have to give the slight edge to Dune because I know where it is going and I love the massive scope that, and I'm just excited from my boy Denis Villeneuve, finally getting some recognition he deserves. Chloé Zhao has always been great, but it's more of like a 1A, 1B type situation for me. But sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, going in, obviously, I was very excited. We were all pumped because we got an Oscar award-winning director directing and writing this movie, and it was an epic, like through and through. Definitely a long runtime, definitely a lot of story to tell, a lot of characters to develop. I thought she did a pretty good job of like giving each of them their own moment and giving them enough background to where we at least have a bit of understanding as to what they are and what they do. Because it's very difficult to do 10 brand new characters. I can't even imagine.
Yeah,
at least 10. There were even more than that. Like, there was even more characters thrown in there, but I really liked it in the end. I mean, it had some issues for sure. I thought the beginning kind of did some time jumps back and forth that were a bit much as far as storytelling, just kind of going back and forth between time periods. Kind of made it a little tough to watch. There were some characters I thought were underused, some that I wasn't really a fan of, but for the most part, I really just enjoyed it a lot. I mean, this cast is amazing. I really love the deviants. I thought those are a really cool take on like an alien type invasion creature.
Yeah. And they weren't like
not only do they look different from most other aliens, but they look different from each other. Like they're unique from each other.
Yeah,
I really like that.
They weren't like gray blobs.
They weren't like
Shazam?
The Quiet Place, like Stranger Things. Like, oh, they all look like Demogorgons. Like,
yeah, there's no variant of the Demogorgons with these deviants. They seem to evolve and take different forms and shapes, which is actually really cool. I pretty much echo everything you were saying. I've only seen it once, and I was supposed to go see it yesterday, but some things popped up. But from when I watched it, I will say the first time I watched it, I did feel the runtime a little bit, but there's a lot of non-linear storytelling in this movie. But I've always enjoyed that style of storytelling. I really like how, they do kind of, you have these Eternals and, it shows them pretty much falling in love with humanity, much like, Superman, and having that humanity side to them by living side by side with these with the humans. And I mean, I saw a lot. It's weird because like a lot of critics were saying that Eternals is messy and there's too many characters, but a lot of them really like
more
Dune.
Confused by a critic score.
I'm very confused by
they're saying this is the worst MCU movie of all time.
No, it is not.
That's what the reviews say. That's what
I know.
49 is the lowest by far.
Yeah, one of them.
There's just no way.
Yeah, one of them says a beautiful entry in the MCU by Kathina Woods. I mean, I follow her on Twitter. Then someone else says that the MCU reaches a theatrical low point with Eternals, an odd team up adventure that teases a franchise future which might be better suited for Disney's streaming service. So a lot of people are saying that the Eternals should have been a TV show, which it could be. I mean, they can definitely take that route later on. I mean, this is just like an introduction.
Scale is just so much though. Like it's so fit for a movie theater and a screen.
It just doesn't make sense why.
All the visuals.
Yeah, it's like it just doesn't make sense as to why people are complaining about there's too many characters.
I think we should mention that it is like very different than every other Marvel movie. Like everyone complains about the Marvel formula is too much. They do it every movie. This is like way off the beaten path for Marvel, and maybe that's why critics aren't connecting with it. I'm not sure. I mean, I really loved the direction they went with here, and it is very mature. I mean, we get our first sex scene in the MCU.
Yeah,
which is really crazy to think about.
It is crazy because it's like, I really don't know why it's kind of just I don't know.
It's crazy because like you would think a movie as like with a scope so large and epic as this is would have the opposite scores. Like audiences you usually wouldn't think would connect with a movie like this.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be swapped. I thought that.
Yeah.
Like credit, I
that,
thought
that would made a lot of sense, but I would not have expected this ever.
Yeah, it's so like this one. Someone's like trying to save the world shouldn't be so boring, but the Eternals is one big giant yawn. It is easily the worst film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I don't understand.
What? Not at all. It is a very contained story. You know, they do make references here and there.
Have they seen the first 2 Thor movies? I need to know. Because the Thor 2 is probably the most boring superhero movie ever made.
Thor 2 was pretty boring. Yeah. Like, honestly, like, I mean, I can't even say Captain Marvel's the worst because it's definitely more on low tier for me, but it's definitely not the worst. Like, I don't know what people are talking about because when I went to go see it with, you know, all the critics here in Nashville, people loved it. You know, people were coming out talking about it. Some people, you know, obviously everyone has issues with the film from time to time, but it's like there really is like the runtime's 2 hours and 37 minutes. You know, it has that action adventure fantasy type to it. You know, it's very, you know, going into the cosmos type thing. And
one other thing I wanted to mention was just I love that the stakes that this movie had. Unlike a lot of superhero movies, there were actually some death, and we can go into it later, but these characters were actually in danger, which you wouldn't expect since they are these grand, amazing Eternals, but they were in danger the whole time, and I like that aspect.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. It is very it brings like that kind of that mortality to these cosmic, you know, eternal beings, you know, no pun intended, but you know, we find out so much from this, and you know, we'll definitely get into spoilers here in a second, but we just find out so much within this universe and within just this story itself, because you know, we haven't heard or seen from these characters. You know, this is the 28th installment, 26th movie installment. Yeah. Because with the series, I think it bumps it up to around 30. So the 26th installment, and of course, like for good reason. And you know, they kind of ask those questions that we've been asking. You know, where have these characters been all this time, and you know, why weren't they helping when you know Thanos was around? And like like the trailer says, they were instructed not to involve in any human conflict unless the deviants were involved. But as of right now, I do feel like we're getting more into spoiler territory. So that is your first spoiler warning for the Eternals. Again, that is your second spoiler warning for Eternals. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out in theaters. Come back and listen to the rest of the show. So as I was saying before, the big twist, these Eternals, hence their name is very fitting. They have been around for ages, and
7,000 years.
7,000 freaking years, which is insane. And we find out that there is a sentient being living at in the core of in Earth's core, I guess you could say. And
Celestial.
Yeah, not the Sentinel, the Celestial, my bad. And this emergence is beginning, and I guess the energy to bring everyone back was like enough energy for the emergence to begin, which is really interesting. But I don't know, I thought the story was very easy and simple to follow, but it was just very like heartfelt, very mature. Like, this is something that you would probably see more so out of like a DC film, but I'm really glad that like Chloé Zhao kind of, is really marking like her stamp within the MCU with this. It really does stand out. So it's crazy stuff. But
and of course, it's not like 100% serious. Like obviously, there's still the classic MCU jokes placed here and there, mostly Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo.
So funny.
Love it so much.
The jokes in this movie.
His valet. I did not expect that.
He's like, oh my gosh, what was it? He said that once he found out that Kumail was an Eternal, like He's like worked from literally his entire life. He's like what, 50 years old or something like that. Like,
I love that they don't keep it a secret too. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, we don't care. We'll just tell anybody.
I really like how nowadays we're kind of getting away from the whole superhero identity thing, unless it is like a huge part of that character's background. Obviously with Spider-Man, you would understand as to why, he wants to keep his identity a secret because he literally wears a mask. Same thing with Batman, but Superman, I don't really know about Superman because that whole thing has always been weird to me. It was like, oh, he puts on the glasses and he's Clark Kent, and he takes them off and he's an entirely different person and nobody knows who this man is. It's like, it's just very, very strange. But
It's funny that you bring up Superman because he is canon in the MCU now.
yeah, and Batman. I love how they put that in there. Like, that joke threw me completely off guard. I forgot exactly what they said, but they're like, it was something about capes. And they're like, oh, like Batman and Superman. And then I was like, what? I thought that was hilarious. And of course, there are two post-credit scenes, or mid-credit. I guess you could call it mid-credit and the post-credit. I usually just say post-credit.
They're both very exciting and should not have been spoiled.
Especially the last
one.
one.
Of them was.
Yeah. Well, it was
that one didn't get spoiled, I don't believe, but the big one definitely did.
With Mr. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to go back because
I mean, we're in spoiler territory now, so we can just say Harry Styles is now in the MCU.
I know I keep beating around the bush, or it's like, oh, should we talk about it? I don't know, but yeah, Variety really just messed that up for everyone. And I can't
bringing a whole another fan base into the MCU.
Yeah, and they brought Harry Styles in, and I forgot what character you play. So I'm assuming you. Went on YouTube.
I got all the information here.
All right, lay it on me.
He is playing Star Fox, not that Star Fox, a different Star Fox.
That's right.
And he is the brother of Thanos, which is kind of crazy to think about. But he's also an Eternal himself. He went out and found our Eternals and met up with them. But yeah, from what I've seen, he's more of a good guy than Thanos. Obviously, I would hope. But yeah, Thanos in the comics is half Eternal, half Deviant.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting backstory there. But it's kind of sad just thinking about that because obviously Thanos is gone now. So like, I don't know how much they can explore his Deviant and Eternalness now that he's gone. But I guess they could always do flashbacks.
Yeah, I guess so. Because now, yeah, like you said, Thanos is dead, and so is a version of Gamora is dead, but has been replaced with another version of Gamora. So I really don't know how all that's gonna, kind of work out. And I believe Nebula is also still alive. Yeah, because she's with, God, who did she end up with? The Guardians? Nebula? I can't remember. It's been forever since I've watched Endgame, so I do apologize. But yeah, that's really interesting. So yeah. When I saw the CGI, it was the bunny, I think it was.
I don't know what that was. That
or
was
like
CGI.
a Hobbit. I don't know what the heck that was.
That's one of the only times at MCU I'm like, that's bad CGI. That was weird.
It looked very waxy, kind of like a garden gnome type thing. I was like, what's going on?
That one might have been rushed in there.
For sure.
Yeah, that was actually voiced by Patton Oswalt.
Really?
Interesting.
Okay. Well, I mean, of course, with that post-credit scene, and then we have the final one with the Black Knight, my man John.
This is where it gets even more interesting.
Yeah, because I love how him and Cersei, like that whole love triangle between oh my gosh, what was Richard Madden's character? Icarus, that's right. I really like how they had that whole love triangle type thing, because obviously you had I keep saying Jon Snow, excuse me, Kit Harington's character, aka that becomes the Black Knight, and he has his own family issues, and he hasn't really necessarily been honest with Cersei either. And I really like, because there's always this, it's not really a cinematic parallel, but within Game of Thrones, Richard Madden's character, who is he is a Stark of Winterfell, which is Lord Stark, played by oh my gosh, I'm blanking on so many people's names right now. Anyway, and Game of Thrones, as you know, we have Jon Snow, and then we have Richard Madden's character of, oh my god, I'm blanking on his name right now, and I'm so sorry. Robb Stark. There we go. Wow, sorry guys, brain fart. Robb Stark, Jon Snow. Obviously, they are brothers or half brothers, and the in Game of Thrones, and they only really share, like, the last scene that they share together. Robb Stark says to Jon Snow, "The next time I see you, you'll be in black." And now we get them both in the Eternals, and Kit Harington is going to become the Black Knight, which is awesome. So I do apologize. Brain farts happen all the time, and it's semi early here in the morning, but
that's all very exciting. But did you hear the voice at the end?
I heard the voice, but I don't know who that was.
Oh boy, that's where it gets spicy.
Oh man, Devin's coming in with all the facts.
It's been confirmed by Chloé Zhao.
Oh,
and by Kit Harington himself. The voice at the end is Mahershala Ali, Blade.
Really?
Because he's got the mystical, like the spiritual side of the MCU on lock. He was like, "Are you sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman?"
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be awesome. He's actually going to be in one of his I think Mahershala, he's in a new Apple TV movie coming up, I believe. I think it's like one of his first like actual like lead roles. So, but oh man, okay, that
the Blade movie will be coming out within the next year or two, and pretty much guarantee we'll be seeing Black Knight in there.
That's gonna be awesome. Like I'm so excited for like the future. Like I think the Eternals really did set up for so much. I mean, even though like with the final battle, like it was like Icarus, and we just have so much going on between them actually finding out the truth that, you know, they've essentially had their memories wiped, you know, throughout time. And you kind of see the effects of Angelina Jolie's character, Thena, drop the A. I think the cast was great just overall. Like it was a lot of characters, but like, I mean, even with Dune and this, like I felt like I was able to keep up with both, but like, that's just because I guess I'm more so of, you know, tailoring my interest towards stories with a bigger cast, because there are a lot more people. I mean, there's a crap ton of people in Harry Potter, and it's like, you know, no one really complains about that. You know, they keep piling on more and more characters, but I mean, even within the first like 2 movies, like there's a lot to learn. I think Eternals, much like they did with Hunger Games, you know, they have the title card in the beginning kind of to explain to people who don't know about the Eternals, because a lot of people don't know about the Eternals in general. And I think they did a really good job. But it's like, I also saw people complaining like, oh, you know, if you have to like, you know, explain all this like through text during the beginning to set up the story, then it's not doing a good job. And I'm like, I was able to.
Seen Star Wars?
Yeah, have you seen Star Wars? I mean, like I said, again, with Hunger Games, so many others prior to it, it's like, I mean, God forbid, you know, you have to read text during a Marvel movie.
I mean, Eternals, nobody knows that. It's like when Guardians came out, nobody knows who they are. Like, you have to explain what these characters are and what they do and what's happening in their world.
Yeah, it's all about exposition within the first movie. So it's like, I thought they did a great job. And like I said, the jokes were just so hilarious. Like, even with Ryan Tyree Henry, I thought his character was fantastic. He was hilarious. Of course, with Camille.
The architect.
Yeah. I thought it was just,
and that's one of the smaller issues I had. I mean, obviously it could be a little biased just because I love Camille Nanjiani, Ryan Tyree Henry so much, but I thought their characters were definitely underused, especially since we don't even see Fastos till halfway through.
Yeah. So who
and then Camille and then Kingo just kind of sits out the final battle, which I was kind of disappointed in.
Yeah,
it's like he knows his power isn't good enough, because it is kind of a weak power, but I feel like they could have given him something more. instead of just finger guns.
Yeah, because it really seems like here, each Eternal has like a specific ability. It's not that they all share these. It's kind of like the X-Men.
I like how they make it like everyone's distinct, and you can tell their powers apart easily.
Yeah, it is very. I liked it. So I guess who are some of the Eternals that really stood out to you? Like, but I mean, obviously besides Camille and Brian Tyree Henry, because I really liked. I like Pixie. I mean, everyone loves, Athena. Like she honestly, dude, when I was seeing her fight, I was like, I kind of within one movie, I think I enjoy Athena more than Wonder Woman. Like she was kicking ass.
I didn't like Athena.
No, what?
No, I thought she was just kind of there. I mean,
really?
I just feel like she kind of like wasn't into it. It was, I don't know.
Yeah. I really enjoyed her presence, just her being this, warrior goddess, what type have you. But I think, man, they're all very interesting in their own way. I mean,
I really like Druig. I thought he was a really interesting, like, kind of.
I liked his power.
Edgy type, like,
and
case study on what would happen if you could have mind control.
Yeah. And like the fact that.
I love his accent too. Was it like Scottish or Irish?
Yes, or maybe he's from Wales. I'm not sure. I've seen that actor before, but I'm not sure.
He's a really good actor.
Yeah, he really, really is. Druig.
Barry Keoghan.
Yeah. He might be, but okay, I'm not gonna lie. So for Sprite, not Pixie, sorry, for Sprite, I couldn't stop wondering this. She looks like the sister of Dylan and Cole Sprouse. Like when I see her face, I thought of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, 100%. Like when they were young.
I didn't see it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do a side by side and be like cinematic parallels because I
do think her character is very interesting though. It's a very tragic character, just living as an Eternal and never aging and being trapped in that body, but you're a child the whole time. It's very restrictive on what you can actually do in the world.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Yeah, she really had a lot of different struggles. I think that was played by Leah McHugh. Yeah. So birthplace, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
There we go.
There we go. I knew she was one of my favorites. He's a Yinzer. There we go. And apparently she was also in The Lodge. That was not a movie that I've seen, and she was in A House on the Bayou. I'm not sure if you saw that. Oh, she will be in a movie called A House on the Bayou. It's supposed to come out sometime this year. And she was also in a movie called Totem. Did you see that?
Nope.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. And then TV.
First time I'm seeing her.
Yeah. And then she was in a series called Into the Dark in 2019. So she's starting off, but she definitely has a lot of good stuff in the works, definitely. So
But as far as the other Eternals go, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of Athena, and I also really wasn't a big fan of Icarus. I thought he was just kind of a
Superman type. I mean, yeah, he was definitely.
I did like the initial twist because everyone always talks about, oh, what if Superman went evil? Like that's just a classic trope.
Yeah,
and it's funny that the MCU does it first. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, well, I guess you could say within the DC cinematic or the extended universe, whatever. I'm just gonna say cinematic universe. They haven't really touched on what if Superman was evil? I mean, they've shown like little glimpses from here to there, but there was that one movie, what was it, Brightburn? I guess, there's that. I actually just watched the new Injustice DC animated movie, which pretty much does the same thing. It's the Injustice storyline where Superman becomes evil, after the death of Lois Lane and all this other stuff happens. So, but yeah, I thought that was very, I thought that was pretty cool. Another Eternal, I probably, just out of the weeds, it was, I think her name is Lauren Ridloff.
McCarty. Yeah,
McCarty. And then, of course, Ajak. She was really awesome. Which I think is BS, by the way, because people kept saying that, they couldn't understand her accent. And I'm like, okay,
He was
Samala.
crystal clear.
Yeah, crystal. And like it really bugs me because it bugs me because people are just hearing, but they're not listening to what she's saying. They just hear her accent and they tune it out. And they're like, oh.
I definitely guessed going in that she was going to die pretty quickly because she was not in the trailers very much.
No, she was. I was wondering how was, her character going to play a part in all this. But I really like how she was the one who knew everything that was going on. Ajak, I guess you could say. Ajak. And of course, with Richard Madden, with Icarus, him being the strongest out of all of them. But then you have, Ajak, who's very more so of the leader. She replies to the Celestials.
And I really liked Makari, the way they showed off her speed ability. I think it looked cooler than DC Flash.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, any Flash. We don't need a slow motion Flash. She was
Flash and Ezra Miller just does not get it done for me. And I thought this was a really cool way of showing what super speed could look like on screen.
Yeah. I mean, apparently she was in the she will be in The Walking Dead for Lauren Ridloff, she's from Chicago. Nice. Who plays
just like where Fastos lives.
Yeah, which is actually pretty cool. I know she came out with a statement hoping that like more theaters, like it would be more of the norm to have like subtitles for theaters. So, to each her own in that one. It really just depends. I mean, I'm all for subtitles. I definitely think it should be an option for theaters to have specific theaters, or I guess showings for those throughout. I think like Devin even said, usually I'll put subtitles on for video games, but not for movies, unless obviously it is a foreign film, but or unless the accents are just super thick. Because sometimes you get like some British shows where the accents are very thick, and it's either you kind of just have to work through it or turn on the subtitles. But I don't know. Let us know if you if you prefer to watch movies or consume media with the subtitles below, because sometimes I do get it. Because when I was watching Tenet, I was like, what are they saying right now? They were very muffled. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
It's actually how it was for me with Dune too.
Really? Oh, okay. There was one scene when Paul was in the tent, he was starting to have those visions. That is one scene where I had to turn on subtitles. But yeah, a lot of these movies, I don't know if I kind of was like that for the Lord of the Rings growing up, because I felt like the audio was so not low, but they weren't speaking. They weren't like, they were enunciating, but they weren't projecting their voice as much as they can. But it's not like they can, yell into the camera. But yeah. But was there anything else you wanted to bring up here before let's get into scores here?
What did you think of Cersei ending up being like the prime eternal is what they called it?
Yeah, because she took over Ajak. I thought Gemma Chan did a fantastic job.
I like how they had her in Captain Marvel, and they're like, "Oh, you're too good. We need to use you again."
Yeah.
Come on back.
Oh, that's right. She was in Captain Marvel. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, she was a weird alien.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, they've done that before with a few actors through and through, but I think she's very much found her place within the MCU. With Cersei, I thought she was a very, obviously she like you said, she was like the prime eternal. You could say Richard Madden was like the strongest, but she was the one that it was weird because it was like a power balance thing where a lot of the Eternals, after finding each other, they flocked to Icarus because he was the strongest, but
like they all kept calling him boss.
Yeah, and that, but with Cersei, she became the prime eternal after Ajak passed. So it's very
she doesn't even recognize her full power.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting power dynamic. I really like the final boss.
When she turned that deviant into a tree, I was like, oh
yeah,
hello.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like that was fantastic, and I like how there wasn't like a traditional final boss. I mean, it was stopping the emergence, but Icarus kind of became the final boss in a way. But we never saw his body, even though he flew into the sun. Because Icarus does.
That boy dead.
No, he's not. He's an eternal. Yeah. He's not going to die because he flies into the fire. Did we see a body? Did we see a body?
I don't know.
That's how it always is. It's like an end of Squid Game. You know, did the undercover cop, did he survive? We don't know. We didn't see a body.
What did you think about the ultimate ending where Cersei, Phastos, and Kingo get kidnapped? Basically.
That was awesome, dude. I was not expecting that. Like,
he was like, I will be back to judge the humans.
Like they came out of like just nowhere, snatched them up.
Praise Arishem, I think his name was.
Yeah. They came in, snatched them up. I was like, oh, this is getting really, really good. Like, people are crazy. I don't know why. Like, it's fine not to like a movie. And, you know, film is subjective.
You need to have perspective, because the critics are putting this below any other MCU movie, and that is insanity.
Like, literally any
There's no
other.
way. The visuals alone were incredible.
Yes.
The deviants looked amazing. The ship looked amazing. The powers looked cool. Like, everything was just so well done.
It's crazy because people are very just, you know, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I just don't understand it. Like, what, like, okay, like me looking at, like, out of all, like, you're saying this is the worst out of all Marvel movies. There's no way. There is absolutely no way. I am lost for words, honestly.
I mean, usually we're on the side of the critics because, I mean, we're kind of like amateurs, but that's what we do. But this is just weird. I don't understand. I can't see what they're seeing. I mean,
it's in my top 10. I mean, it's creeping up there. Like, this is probably one of my favorite Marvel movies we've had. I mean, Shang-Chi was fantastic, but in terms of, you know, this just being something different and, you know, shooting on location and just the story itself, it's probably it might end up being in my top 5 towards the end of the year, depending. You know, we still have Spider-Man No Way Home to get through. I feel like that's going to be my number 1, but I really don't know. But right now it's sitting at number 9, but I really enjoyed, oh man, I might have to bump this up to like my 6th or 7th spot, because like, I really did enjoy it. Like, oh my gosh, it was just so different. And, you know, I mean, and it's not, you know, like, there's nothing wrong with shaking up the Marvel formula from time to time.
And maybe that's why critics are enjoying it as much, because every other Marvel movie gets decent scores, because there's a certain type of experience that people expect when they see an MCU movie.
Yeah,
you can call it a formula, but
it doesn't make any.
Like,
yeah, sorry,
they tried something different. They tried something different here, and it's like, I don't understand why they aren't receiving it well.
It doesn't make any sense, because everyone was like dragging Black Widow through the mud. Like, oh, like, well, you know, it doesn't shake up the Marvel formula. Like, every single Marvel movie that I hear from people, they keep complaining about how, oh, this doesn't redefine the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm like, well, why does every Marvel movie need to redefine the Marvel formula?
This is the definition of redefining the Marvel Universe.
Yeah. And like, even with Shang-Chi, I thought that did a really good job of straying away, but I think Eternals did an even better job. But it's like, critics complain that the Marvel, you know, MCU is too formulaic, you know, they don't really stray away. And then when they do it, and then it's like, oh, this is terrible. This is not like any other Marvel movie out there. And I'm like, you guys have been complaining for years. Not every critic, but there's critics out there that have been complaining for years about how Marvel doesn't do anything different. They're too afraid to take risks. This was a risk, 100%. And I would have to say, good on Disney for not taking out the LGBTQ scenes in certain markets, because they're just not playing them.
I mean, unlike Star Wars, I should say.
Yeah. Like they had said, they said, you know, they're working towards it. And I think, you know, for people within that community, you know, they definitely deserve, you know, some credit and some representation for sure.
The deaf community as well.
Yes. Yeah, especially. Excuse me. But yeah, it's just so crazy. I don't understand how people are just like, oh, well, You know, like it's weird because critics love to like drag Marvel movies through the mud, and then he's like, okay, you know, Kevin Feige's like, you know, we're gonna do something different and see how this pans out, and then people would drag it through the mud, and it's like I don't understand it, and it's like I'm sorry if you didn't follow along what was going on here. It was clear as day. It was not a hard story. There was a lot of time jumping, like Devin said. I know people do have issues with that, and that's fine. You know,
I think just they should have done it sequentially instead of going back and forth in the beginning.
yeah. I mean, I
I understand why they
have.
have to go back in time to show more more of the character development, but I think that should have been done in order.
Do you think this would have been better received as a series?
I just don't think it could have had the same scope if it was a series.
Yeah. I mean, I thought they did a pretty good job of, you know, introducing everyone, and yeah, I mean, I loved it. Like it's creeping up. I mean, I don't know if it'll be in my top 5, maybe, but it's sitting at number 9 right now. And after another rewatch,
what's your score looking like?
Right now, I have it on Letterboxd as a 4.5. I mean 4, but I think after talking about it with you, I'm bumping. I might have to bump this up to 4.5, like at least. Like it was like, I mean, it was sitting at a 4 for a while because I really liked it, but you know, talking it over with you, it really kind of just like got me hot. Like I want to see it again. I'm like, wow, like it really is something special. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm sitting at like an 86 right now. Just really solid. I had a few little issues, like I said, with underused characters in the beginning. The jumping back and forth was a bit much, but other than that, I mean, just a really cool story.
Yeah, like a very grounded story for a bunch of mystical cosmic beings, because you know they've been just waiting for instructions from, you know, the Celestials, and the it's, you know, it's like, all right, well, what else am I gonna do with my time? And it's like, so let's go live 1,000 different lifetimes over, you know, try something new every time. But it is crazy
rest in peace, Gil.
Yeah, rest in peace. Rest in peace. But it really sucks that they had to like essentially keep moving around like every so often, especially with Sprite, because it's like obviously her age is going to start showing.
Hey, everyone except Kingo, just his granddad and his great granddad were also Bollywood stars.
I love it how he keeps that going. That is the funniest thing in the world. He's
got the perfect life.
He does. Like, honestly, like within entertainment, it's like, oh, you know, it's just a family full of, you know, actors and just entertainers. Like, it's just what they do. He was like, no, this is my great grandfather. Oh man, I definitely got to see this again, but I got to watch Spencer first. So yeah, that pretty much concludes our review of Eternals here on the Film Optix podcast. Let us know what you guys thought about it. You know, tweet us at Film Optix. Again, that's Optix with an X, or, you know, send us a message through Film Optix, or you can actually just send us an email and our email address, because we have one and I never plug it. So this is my first time plugging it. You can email us your thoughts in long form at filmoptix@gmail.com. Again, that is Optix with an X. So, Devin, what's coming up here on the podcast? We have a lot. Well, yeah, we have a lot. We thought we were done with October. We've officially gone through October. We're very happy about that. But we also have our Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix review as we continue our 20 years of magic celebration that will be dropping on November 11th. And then we're going to be reviewing Cowboy Bebop, the live action. So we're definitely going to be powering through that and getting that out for you guys as soon as possible. We're not sure if it's going to be on Embargo Day, which I believe is November 12th, or if we're just going to drop it on the day of. Devin is far along than I am. I thought I was going to beat him, but it looks like he's been chipping away. So I have some catching up to do.
Good time.
It is. I'm glad, you know, you're enjoying it so far. I'm only 2 episodes in, but it's only 10 episodes so far. So only 8 more to go. Not too bad. But
it helps that it's possibly the least weeb anime ever made.
Have you seen the original?
It's still Western. No. but
Okay. Well, I do
just it's
implore
so
you to watch.
westernized.
I do implore you to watch the original after you've watched the live
might.
action, because it's that space cowboy one. It's just so great. It's easily in my top 5 anime like of all time, like the original. It's just so great. Only 26 episodes. It's like, I mean, with it, a 22 and then 24-minute time period, you kind of just power through them, and it's honestly the best. The best way to watch anime is to binge, 100%. Like. I would have to agree with for anime 100%. So other than that, those are the 2 things we definitely know that we're doing. We're still trying to figure out whether we're going to do The Harder They Fall.
Yeah, I got to watch that, but yeah.
I got to rewatch that too, because it's actually been a few weeks since I've seen it. And Spencer, I don't know, is that playing by you at all?
I think so.
We might have to, so definitely keep a lookout for our Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix review. Like I said, dropping November 11th, and then our Cowboy Bebop live action review, release date TBA as of right now. It'll either be the 12th of November or the 19th. So if it's not there on the 12th, it's coming on the 19th. And we're going to try to get out The Harder They Fall review, and possibly a Spencer review for you guys as well. Like we said, we try to cover more than just the nerd stuff that we're all used to, like obviously like superhero movies and Cowboy Bebop anime stuff, Harry Potter, all the pop culture stuff. We got to get The Harder They Fall, great Western, and then of course Spencer. We got to get the awards. The award specter, in there, those films, the ones that are gonna turn the Academy's heads and say, oh, this movie. So definitely keep a lookout for that. We'll probably be doing updates on our Twitter page over on Film Optix. Again, that's Optix with an X. So I'm going to shut up now, and we're going to get out of here. And we hope you guys have a wonderful week, since this is dropping on a Monday. Mondays can be hard. It can be tough. I hope everyone is adjusting to the time as of this recording. It hasn't happened yet, but by the time you're listening to this, you'll be getting that 1 hour of extra sleep, which is oh so nice. But I think we definitely need to figure out which time zone thing we're going to be doing here, hopefully within the future. But we will see you guys in the next one. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Excelsior!